What to expect from the Seattle Sounders in the MLS Cup Final, coming up on the Quest Diagnostics Scouting Report. Hey everybody, thanks for watching the Quest Diagnostics Scouting Report. Good health starts with knowing. Here's Steve Zakuani. I'm Nick Firchau, and we are previewing the MLS Cup Final on December 10th between the Seattle Sounders and Toronto FC out at BMO Field in Toronto. Kickoff 5 p.m. Pacific on Fox and Unimas, as well as local radio, Cairo 97.3 FM and El Rey 1360 AM. Steve, it's all been building to this, the MLS Cup Final for the Seattle Sounders. I want to take a look at two of the matchups that we're expecting to see on Saturday night. Let's start with the Sounders on the ball. So much of that offense has revolved around Nicholas Lodeiro this season, but he's got a tough challenge in this one against Toronto FC, and specifically Michael Bradley, the captain of the U.S. national team and a two-time World Cup veteran, one of the best defensive midfielders in the game. What do you expect from this matchup, and what do you like?
It's going to be a tough game for the Sounders anyway, but I think with Nico Lodeiro, what he's shown us is that the bigger the game, the better he tends to play. He's been incredible in the playoffs so far. The way Toronto defends, there's so much space between their backline and their midfield. Lodeiro's going to find a lot of space underneath. The one guy who can prevent him is Michael Bradley, as good a player in this league as you can find. But the problem is Michael Bradley is no longer your typical defensive midfielder. He's more an on-the-ball player. So even with Bradley's presence, I still expect Nico to find all the space he normally finds, and if he starts causing a lot of damage, then pay attention, because Toronto will send other guys, maybe Will Johnson, or put one of the centre backs up to stop Lodeiro. It won't be directly head to head with Bradley. They'll be in the same spaces, but the way Bradley plays now, the Sounders need to be more wary of Bradley on the ball than what he does defensively.
A great matchup there in the midfield, but keep in mind Toronto FC gave up 5 goals over the 2 legs of the Eastern Conference Championship against the Montreal Impact. So I think we can both say the Sounders are going to get some goals in this one. It's just a matter if they can keep that Toronto offense off the board. And that brings us to our next matchup. It's Roman Torres and Jozy Altidore. I know you love this matchup. Let's take a look at some of the numbers here. First with Roman Torres, obviously he returned from that injury in August. You look at the games he started this year. Without him, the Sounders give up about 1.5 goals this year. With him, Steve, it's cut in half. It's less than a goal. The win percentage, 72% of the time they're winning games with Roman Torres in there, and points per game, obviously twice as many. Obviously that overlaps a little bit with Nicolas Lodeiro's arrival in Seattle, but those defensive numbers are great. Now, Jozy Altidore. Toronto FC's numbers are pretty similar with Jozy in there and without him. They score a little bit more goals. They win a little bit more of the time, but really lately, Steve, he's been on fire. 7 goals and 5 assists in his last 8 games, and the first player in MLS history to score in 5 straight postseason games. He's a streaky player, but he's on fire right now.
He's on a great streak right now, and everything Lodeiro's been for the Sounders in the playoffs, Jozy Altidore's been that and more for Toronto. He really has been unstoppable, and the battle with him and Torres will be interesting. Roman Torres loves playing against big physical strikers. Think Fernando Adi for Portland Timbers. The difference is Altidore can play with his back to goal, very good at that, but he can also turn, face you up and dribble by you. I don't think Torres has quite seen a physical player like that who's also very, very quick and just as good going towards the goal, facing the goal, with his back to goal. Altidore obviously plays with Giovinco, arguably the best player in this league, takes a lot of attention away from Jozy Altidore, but Torres has to keep an eye on Altidore, can score with his head, left foot, right foot. He's a very good passer around the box, assists guys, and he's just been on fire. So for me, I think this MLS Cup Final will hinge on this matchup. Chad Marshall will be involved too, but I expect Roman Torres to take Altidore head to head, and whoever dominates this matchup will go a long way towards deciding this final for their team.
There's history between these two. They've obviously played on the international level, Torres for Panama and Altidore for the U.S. national team, but this is the first time the Sounders have played against Jozy Altidore, and it's on the big stage at the MLS Cup Final on December 10th at BMO Field in Toronto, 5 p.m. Pacific kickoff. You can watch it on Fox as well as Unimas, or check it out on the local radio, Cairo 97.3 FM and El Rey 1360 AM. For Steve Zakuani, I'm Nick Firchau. Enjoy the MLS Cup.